My dear listeners, it has long been said, though seldom taken seriously, that the realm of darkness announces itself not with a trumpet blast, but with a whisper, or more curiously, with a scent. Yes, scent. That most primal of senses, long disregarded in the modern imagination, is in fact the first to stir when the unnatural draws near. Tonight I speak not of metaphor, but of the tangible. There are odors, strange, disquieting, and unmistakable, that herald the presence of a witch, not the romanticized creature of popular fiction, but the real sort veiled in the everyday, working through subtle deceits, trafficking in despair. Consider this a list of warning signs. Should you ever find yourself in the presence of any of these curious smells, be neither complacent nor dismissive. Evil seldom kicks down the door, it seeps in like smoke through a crack. Scent is a primal and overlooked warning system against supernatural evil. Long before the written word, before firelight stories or the songs of wandering bards, mankind trusted his nose. The scent of rain warned of coming storms, the musk of a predator signaled danger in the underbrush. We forget now, numbed by perfumes, detergents, and artificial airs, that smell is our most ancient sentinel. It reaches us before sight, before thought, slipping through the conscious mind and stirring something older, deeper. There is a reason why, in so many tales, the approach of the otherworldly is marked by smell. It is not dramatic, like thunder, nor visible, like shadow. But it is undeniable, the witch, the true witch, not the theatrical caricature with pointy hats and cauldrons, but the real creature who traffics in ruin, rarely announces herself with words. She does not arrive to rattle chains or speak curses aloud. Her presence seeps into a space, and one of the first betrayals of her nearness is a scent not quite right, not quite natural. Smell bypasses logic. It does not wait for permission. A child may not understand why the smell of a certain room terrifies him, only that it does. A seasoned skeptic might laugh at ghost stories, but pause uncomfortably when a cold whiff of sulfur curls under his door at midnight. Scent is the language of memory and instinct. It's the reason you feel a sudden dread when you enter an empty house that smells of forgotten earth, whetstone, or something long dead. The mind catches up too late, the body already knows. Those who walk in wickedness often leave traces behind, but it is not always footprints or objects disturbed. Sometimes it is just a lingering odor, a sulphurous tang that seems to come from nowhere, a sweetness too thick for the room it's in, a bitter aroma like burned threads or strange wax. These are not the smells of nature, they are distortions, smells that mimic life but do not belong to it. The supernatural cannot fully imitate the world. It always gets something slightly wrong. The illusion may be visual or verbal, but the nose betrays what the eye tolerates. In old villages, people feared the wise woman who smelled like crushed herbs and candle smoke, not because she was loud or dangerous, but because the air around her was never quite still. Animals can sense it too. Cats slink away from the wrong corners. Dogs growl at thresholds that humans pass without care. Why? Because scent speaks a language they still understand. We have forgotten it, or worse, trained ourselves to ignore it. But even now, even in an age of synthetic fragrance and filtered air, the body remembers. When something smells wrong, truly wrong, not unpleasant, but off in a way you cannot name, do not dismiss it. You are not imagining it. You are sensing something the rational world would prefer you overlook, and very often that something is already watching you back. 7 specific smells indicate a witch's presence: singed hair, overripe fruit, iron, strange candle wax, lilacs out of season, mildew, and sulfur. These are not the scents one encounters in daily life without cause. They do not waft in on spring breezes or drift from open kitchens. They appear suddenly, sharply, and often without any visible source. Each one carries its own warning, like a hidden bell rung in another world, sending its echoes into ours. These are not mere indicators of something unpleasant. They are signs, portents, as the old storytellers would say, that something unnatural has passed near or is presently observing. The scent of singed hair is often the first to manifest. It has a uniquely foul quality, acrid, burnt, unmistakably human. It carries the memory of fire turned cruel, not the warmth of a hearth, but the scorch of something sacred defiled. It is the aftermath of ritual, of tampering with things not meant to be touched. Where that smell arises, one should suspect that unclean fire, fire driven by malice or misused power, has been invoked. It clings not just to clothing or air, but to memory, refusing to be forgotten. Overripe fruit may seem benign, even pleasant at first. Sweetness is rarely viewed as dangerous, but this sweetness is deceptive, cloaking decay beneath perfume. It evokes the image of a bowl of fruit left untouched, beautiful on the surface but filled with rot. It is the scent of temptation, beauty hiding corruption. Witches have long used seduction, not just of flesh but of senses and spirit. Where the air is too sweet, where the ripeness is out of season or inexplicable, the wise grow wary. The smell of iron follows. It is the scent of blood without violence, clean, sharp, metallic. It is the ghost of pain, the suggestion that life has been drained, not spilled. Iron has always been bound to the body, to sacrifice, to binding and banishment. Its presence in the air when no blade has fallen and no wound is seen should be taken as a chilling omen. Life has been taken, or at least touched. Then there is the odor of strange candle wax, not the gentle scent of beeswax or lavender, but something more ancient and bitter. These are not candles lit for comfort, but for rites. Their smoke carries hints of herbs no apothecary stocks, plants whispered of in forgotten tomes. When such a scent drifts in without flame, know that some secret rite has been performed nearby. Lilacs blooming out of season, or their scent, thick and floral, are more subtle. They are unnatural in timing and intent, a beautiful smell yet deeply wrong. It evokes spring yet arrives in winter. The world, twisted by the presence of a witch, imitates loveliness at the wrong time. It is a deception, a mask of charm drawn over something older and colder. Mildew and damp stone reek of long-forgotten places. It is the scent of basements sealed for decades, of ruins where light cannot reach. It hints at secrecy and confinement, as if something waits beneath the floorboards or behind the wall. Witches often operate from such places, not in open meadows but in hidden chambers. And finally, sulfur, sharp, bitter and stinging. It is the smell of storms, of brimstone, of contracts signed without ink. It is the oldest warning and the surest. Where sulfur rises, evil has already entered. Each smell carries symbolic meaning, signifying corruption, ritual, death, deception, or hidden danger. These scents do not merely offend the nose, they speak to the soul in a language older than speech. Long before mankind developed words to express fear or wonder, scent carried the message. And when evil walks among us, it does not always arrive in shadow or thunder. Sometimes it lingers quietly in the air, cloaked in fragrance, each carrying a secret meaning for those who still have the sense to notice. The smell of singed hair is more than just the aftermath of fire. It is a symbol of desecration. Hair, once part of the living, is burned in the rituals that seek power through sacrifice. It does not burn cleanly. It burns with protest, with memory. To smell it is to know that something sacred has been defiled, an offering made not out of devotion, but desperation or cruelty. This scent clings to spaces where unnatural things have been summoned and cannot easily be undone. Overripe fruit, with its cloying sweetness, bears the symbolism of excess and rot. What was once fresh and nourishing has been left too long, and now invites decay. This is the witch's charm, presenting something tempting, lush, and beautiful, but just a moment past its truth. The smell is deceptive, rich and pleasant at first, but with an undertone of fermentation and sickness. It is the scent of corruption in disguise, of something lovely turned inward and spoiled. The odor of iron, sharp and metallic, whispers of blood and the cost of forbidden acts. Iron is not merely the element of war or farming. It is the scent of life extracted, of rituals paid in flesh. In old lore, iron was thought to repel witches, but its scent, oddly enough, often precedes them. It symbolizes the taking of life not in grand battles, but in quiet, grim ceremonies that leave no visible wound. When the air smells faintly of iron without cause, one can be sure that something unnatural has drawn vitality from the living. Candle wax, especially when mixed with bitter herbs or resins, is the smell of ritual. It speaks of chambers where light is controlled, where flame is used not to illuminate but to bind, to summon, to command. Wax holds form until fire alters it, so too do these rites bend the laws of the world until they drip and run in unnatural shapes. The scent of strange wax suggests recent incantation or long, practiced blasphemy performed with precision and secrecy. Lilacs out of season carry the symbol of false beauty. They bloom when they should not, and so their scent becomes a symbol of deception. It is beauty borrowed from another time, pressed into service for unnatural purposes. A bloom in winter is not a miracle, but a sign of meddling. Its fragrance is soft, floral, enchanting, and entirely wrong. Mildew, damp and heavy, speaks of forgotten places. It symbolizes hidden danger, the weight of time, and secrets locked away. It is the breath of long, shuttered rooms, of knowledge buried too deeply. Sulfur, finally, is the essence of doom. It is a primal warning, signaling not just danger, but damnation. Its presence means the veil between worlds has already been torn. The unnatural often mimics beauty or normalcy to mask its sinister nature. This is not just a tendency. It is a strategy, a deliberate deception woven into the fabric of dark forces. Evil, when it walks openly, is quickly cast out, but when it wraps itself in something familiar, even comforting, it is welcomed inside. This is the great danger, that what is foul does not appear monstrous, but alluring. The most dangerous presence in the room is rarely the one with claws and fangs. It is the one that smells like flowers and speaks like a friend. A witch, in the truest sense, rarely appears as the hag of fairy tales. She may carry no broom, wear no black robes, and utter no curse aloud. Instead, she may seem gentle, graceful, even kind. Her presence may be marked not by screams but by soft music, warm light, or the scent of lilacs in a season where no such flowers should bloom. It is in these small contradictions, beauty slightly out of place, that the mask begins to slip. Yet most will ignore it. We are trained to trust what is beautiful, to relax in the presence of sweetness. The unnatural knows this. It uses our instincts against us. This mimicry of the natural world is precise but never perfect. There is always something slightly wrong, a bouquet too fragrant, a smile too still, a room too quiet. The witch, or any malevolent force, does not need to fool every sense. It needs only to cloud the strongest one, the mind. If the mind accepts the illusion, the rest of the body follows, and so we accept the warm hand that is slightly too cold. We drink the tea that tastes a little too metallic. We breathe in the air that smells of roses, even when there are no petals in sight. The unnatural thrives in this gap between appearance and essence. It takes the shape of what we long for, love, safety, beauty, wisdom, and bends it into something that serves its own hunger. This is why corrupted things often remain half beautiful. The decaying fruit still shines with juice. The perfumed candle still flickers sweetly. The poisoned words still arrive in gentle tones. The mimicry is never random. It chooses the form we are least likely to question. Nature itself resists this kind of falsehood. True flowers bloom in season. True sweetness fades with time. True light casts honest shadows. But the unnatural is static, or worse, rehearsed. It imitates growth without growing. It offers comfort without warmth. It creates scenes that feel like memories you've never had, familiar, nostalgic, but empty. That emptiness is the signal. It is the hollowness beneath the surface, the echo in a voice that should be full. We ignore it at our peril. The sinister does not always wear the grotesque. More often it wears a smile. It paints its face with charm, dresses itself in borrowed beauty, and waits. It waits for us to be too polite to question, too enchanted to flee, too certain in appearances to trust the quiet protest of our instincts. And by the time we realize the truth, we are already within the circle. If multiple signs appear at once, one should immediately and quietly remove themselves from the area. This is not mere superstition, nor the overactive imagination of a frightened mind. It is an ancient wisdom, spoken in low tones across countless generations, warning that when the signs converge, danger has already drawn near. Evil, true evil, does not blare trumpets or hurl fire from the sky. It prefers a quieter entrance, one laced with uncertainty. The convergence of unnatural sense, Those subtle, eerie warnings of sulfur, mildew, lilac, blood, and burnt things is not a coincidence. It is a signal that something malevolent is no longer on its way but already present. The body knows before the mind does. A shiver without chill, a tightening of the chest, the feeling that the air itself is watching. These reactions are not madness. They are the remnants of an older sense, one that humans have largely forgotten but not lost. When multiple warnings stir this sense at once, hesitation becomes danger. The moment you recognize more than one of these signs, you must not stay to ponder them. You must not search for proof or try to rationalize. The time for questions is over. The moment of decision has arrived. Many who come to harm in such moments are not fools. They are simply too brave or too curious. They linger, thinking they can outwit what is beyond reason. They tell themselves there must be an explanation. They mistake the eerie for the unusual, and the unnatural for the unexplained. But evil, when it crosses the threshold into our world, wraps itself in just enough logic to keep us from running. It does not want to fight. It wants you paralyzed by doubt. There is an art to surviving such moments, and it begins with restraint. Do not cry out. Do not challenge. Do not ask who is there. Evil thrives on engagement. A witch, or any entity aligned with dark forces, draws strength from attention and fear. If you name it, you empower it. If you confront it, you acknowledge it. But if you leave, calmly, silently, you deny it that foothold. Quiet retreat is not cowardice, it is defiance. One must also be cautious not to disturb the balance of the moment. Even speaking aloud, even a single word of recognition, can change the atmosphere. The presence may not yet be aware that you are aware. That is your advantage. Preserve it. Move gently. Do not run unless forced. Running invites pursuit, and the more frantic your exit, the more likely something follows. A quiet departure says, "I do not belong here," without drawing attention. The signs are not random. They are ancient. They are patterns burned into the very rules of the world, and when they align, more than one in one place, at one time, the air becomes thin, the light dim, and the veil thinner than you imagine. It is not your job to study what lies beyond that veil. Your job is to leave before it reaches through. True wisdom lies not in confronting evil, but in recognizing and avoiding it. This is a truth rarely spoken in tales of heroes and legends, where valor is measured by the sword drawn and the foe slain. Yet those stories, though stirring, often forget the quiet ones. The villagers who never vanished, the wanderers who passed through the cursed valley and emerged untouched, the wise ones who turned away before their names could be forgotten. These are not cowards. They are keepers of a deeper knowledge that evil, in its truest form, is not meant to be battled, but discerned and evaded. There is an old arrogance in the belief that all darkness must be met head-on. It assumes that evil is merely a force to be broken, rather than something that corrupts by contact, stains by proximity. Confrontation, for all its bravery, invites entanglement. The moment you face it, speak to it, name it, you open yourself. You offer a thread for it to grasp. Many who step forward with righteous fury do not return with victory, but with silence behind their eyes. They win the fight, perhaps, but lose something else, something unseen, something internal. The wise know to watch without staring, to listen without engaging. They recognize the shift in the air, the wrong turn in the path, the scent that should not be there. And they do not linger to investigate. They do not need confirmation. They do not need proof. They trust the old signs, the old feelings, the instincts that once kept their ancestors alive in darker times. This kind of wisdom is often dismissed today as if caution were weakness. But it is the strength of those who understand that not all knowledge must be pursued, and not all presences should be challenged.